Hello, good morning everyone. In this topic we are going to discuss about Earth in Space, Chapter 11, Lesson 2. We will go through the pages 480 to 486. Okay, let's see the objectives of the lesson. To describe how Earth moves in space, to explain what causes the cycles of seasons on Earth. So these are the two objectives of the lesson. Once again, to describe how Earth moves in space, to explain what causes the cycles of seasons on Earth. How does Earth move? Earth moves in space in two major ways. Which are the two major ways? Let's see. The first one is about rotation and the second one is revolution. Let's go through rotation. Rotation means it is a spinning of Earth on its axis. What do you mean by axis or Earth's axis? Earth's axis is an imaginary line that passes through Earth's center and the north and south poles. The rotation of Earth causes day and night. Let's see the picture. Look at the picture very carefully. The Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. So the rotation of Earth causes day and night. The second one is about revolution. What is revolution? Revolution is the movement of one object around another. One revolution of Earth around the Sun is 1 year. That means 365 and 1/4 days. Earth's path or orbit around the Sun is an ellipse. The ellipse brings the planet closest to the Sun in January. Let's see the revolution and rotation. You can see the rotation and revolution of the Earth. Next is about the calendar. What is calendar? We know that we are familiar with the different types of calendars. What is the use of the calendar? People of many cultures have used the motions of Earth and the Moon to establish calendars. A calendar is a system of organizing time that defines the beginning, length, and divisions of a year. The most common calendar today is divided into years, months, and days. The ancient Egyptians created one of the first calendars. The Romans borrowed the Egyptian calendar. The Roman calendar was off by a little more than 11 minutes a year. So calendars are of different types. Actually, the calendar means it is a system of organizing the time that defines the beginning, length, and divisions of a year. Our next topic is about seasons. What causes seasons? All of you are familiar with the 4 different types of seasons: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. What causes seasons? We know that it is generally warmer near the equator than near the poles. Why? Let's go through the topic in detail. The first is about how sunlight hits Earth. As you know that near the equator, sunlight hits Earth's surface from almost overhead. Near the poles, sunlight arrives at a steep angle. As a result, near the poles, sunlight is spread out over a greater area. That's why it is warmer near the equator than near the poles. The next reason about the seasons, Earth's tilted axis. If Earth's axis were straight up and down relative to its orbit, temperatures in an area would remain fairly constant year-round. There would be no seasons. However, we know that Earth's axis is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees from the vertical. So as Earth revolves around the Sun, the north end of its axis is tilted away from the Sun for part of the year and toward the sun for part of the year. Earth has seasons because its axis is tilted as it revolves around the sun. Usually, in summer, Earth's axis points towards the sun. In spring, Earth's axis is neither pointing towards nor away from the sun. You can see from the picture, in summer, Earth's axis points towards the sun. In spring, Earth's axis is neither pointing towards nor away from the sun. Our next topic is about solstice. Let's see what you mean by solstice. I hope it's a new term for you. What do you mean by solstice? The sun appears farthest north or south of the equator twice each year. Each of these days is called a solstice. Once again, the sun appears farthest north or south of the equator twice each year. Each of these days is called a solstice. In the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice occurs around June 21st. That is the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere and the shortest day in the southern hemisphere. Similarly, around December 21st, the winter solstice occurs in the northern hemisphere, while the summer solstice occurs in the southern hemisphere. So these 2 days actually we call it solstice. The sun appears farthest north or south of the equator twice each year. Next is about equinoxes. I think it's a new term for you, equinoxes. What do you mean by equinoxes? We know that halfway between the solstices, neither hemisphere is tilted toward the sun. Each of these days is called an equinox. On an equinox, the noon sun is directly overhead at the equator, rises due east and sets due west. Look at the picture very carefully. You can see from here the summer solstice, winter solstice, and also the spring equinox and autumnal equinox. The spring equinox occurs around March 21st and marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere. The fall or autumnal equinox occurs around September 22. It marks the beginning of fall in the northern hemisphere. Let's see the summary of the lesson. Earth moves by rotating on its axis and revolving around the sun. Earth's seasons are caused by yearly changes in temperature resulting from Earth's tilted axis. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. See you next time. Bye bye.